Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Big Shaw Sports Podcast. Hope everyone's having a great night. I am having a great night myself. Besides the college football fiasco without Alabama in the championship, Clemson, you're not in as as well. But that's just how it goes. But I really thought with TCU losing, I said, "Hey, my team is in." Next thing I know, they said no. Ohio State moved in. TCU didn't go nowhere. Georgia, win or loss, they wasn't going anywhere. The only team that fell out was USC, and that put the Ohio State in that position. So those games, it will be Georgia and the Ohio State. I know some people, a few friends of mine, they're thinking, well, it's going to be a blowout. Georgia's going to blow them out. Like I said about Kansas State, I said, and Utah as well. I said, these teams are hungry teams, kind of like a hungry animal. A hungry animal is a dangerous animal. They're hungry. They want food. They need it. And I said, watch out for Utah. Don't take Utah lightly. They beat USC before in the same position. They beat them. But I was told, hey, you're crazy. You don't know what you're saying. You don't know sports. Why? Because I said, watch out for Utah. Don't take Utah lightly. You can't take these teams just because they're 5-6, 1-4, 0-10 doesn't mean that they don't have a single fight in them. I watched the USC game, or rather listened to it. I was at work. Yeah, USC was doing fine, but I said, don't count out Utah. Don't do that. And they're telling you USC is going to put up 30, 40 points. I said, no, you watch Utah. Stay there and you watch it. And you tell me what you see. And my God, Utah won the game. They was not expected to beat USC. USC had one job, and that one job was what? That one job was to win, and that's what they didn't do. Now, did USC have a horrible season? No, that's stupid to even say that. They didn't have a horrible season at all. I like what Coach Riley has out in USC. It's nothing to put your head down about. Regroup. Get ready for the bowl game. Beat your opponent, which we're going to get to the bowl games here shortly. Regroup. Get to the bowl game, handle your business, win or lose. All season, stack up. Start getting them recruits back at USC. USC is the powerhouse. We all know that. When you think of college football, of course you're going to think of LSU, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, the Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Florida State, Miami, Texas, Oklahoma. You think of those schools. If I miss one, oh well. But them are the schools that you think about when you think of college football. You think of those schools. I mean, even Penn State as well. These are the schools that you think about. So no, by any means, USC did not have a horrible season. Yes, they should have beat Utah. That's what the experts say. I'm not an expert. I just love to talk sports. That's all I like to do. But that's what the experts said. Oh, they're gonna run through Utah. We know that was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. Every time we get close, basically to the end of the year, things happen in the top four. So now we're getting ready to have the new college football deal. Should have been in play. If you ask me, we should have been had this in play, not the crap we have now. So this is going to be something new that I'm going to like it. I can't wait for it to kick off. But we're going to get into the games this weekend, and we're going to get into the bowl games. We're not going to touch every last bowl game. Every bowl game is important, but we're going to touch the key games that I believe is going to be a lot of viewers. It's going to bring in a lot of money, a lot of fans. People are going to be traveling here and there. So let's get you to the games, from the Pac-12. We're going to keep on rolling. So Pac-12 championship, we all know how that turned out. Utah, they are your Pac-12 champions. Saturday, another upset, but it didn't help at all. Kansas State beat TCU. They're your Big 12 champions. They won 31-28. In Georgia, they blinked LSU 50-30. This is what I tell people all the time. When you talk about LSU, you got to be honest about it. You got to tell the truth. They are not as talented as Georgia. I don't care what an LSU fan has to say, because of course they're going to say their players are better. No, they're not. Georgia has those players that you could just sit back and say, man, this guy is amazing. So you can't sit up there and tell me that these Georgia players aren't good. These Georgia players are top tier. These Georgia players were ready to rock and roll in the SEC championship. They knew it was at stake. They knew even if they lost, they still would have been in the championship picture anyway. But they didn't have the big head. Coach Kirby Smart, he coached his team up well. Not saying Brian Kelly didn't do a good job. It's just his team was outmatched against a strong Georgia team. And we're going to get into Georgia and the Ohio State matchup later on, because I'm not going to be on too much long. But Georgia is a dangerous team. They were ready. They had their game plan ready. They came out and they executed. So let's just keep on going here. Tulane, they beat UCF. They are the AAC champions. Michigan, of course, they are the Big Ten champion. They beat Purdue. And Clemson, they beat North Carolina, but their quarterback was benched. We're going to get into that here shortly. We're going to get into the bowl games, but don't forget this weekend. Well, yeah, it's this weekend. It's a new week. Navy and Army. I always say Sunday is a new week for some reasons, but Navy and Army will be playing this weekend. I think that's the only college game, football game on the schedule. That's going to be a pretty good game, and I'm going for Army in that game. So we're going to touch on some of the bowl games. We're not going to hit all of them. We're going to touch on some here and there right after this quick. I am back, folks. So we have some games Friday, some bowl games Friday coming up. We have Miami, Ohio versus UAB in the hometown Lenders Bahamas Bowl. Then we have UTSA versus Troy and the Duluth Trading Cure Bowl. These games is Friday coming up. Saturday, December 17th, we have a few games. Cincinnati and Louisville. This will be Saturday, December 17th. And we have SMU and BYU in the New Mexico Bowl. Let's just keep going to a few games that I think will be interesting for some people in the sports world. Let's go. Florida Gators and the Oregon State Beavers. This game is the SRS Distributor Lawrence Vegas Bowl. It should be interesting. The SEC Pac-12 should be an interesting game. Of course, I'm an SEC guy, but Oregon State is going to beat Florida Gators in this game. Don't argue with me on that one. North Texas and Boise State in the Fresco Bowl. Monday, you got UConn and Marshall in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Every one of Tuesday, of course, we got games almost all week. So we have Tuesday, December 20th. We have Eastern Michigan and St. Jose State. We have Liberty and Toledo and the roofclaim.com. The roofclaim.com Buckaroo Bowl. And the Eastern Michigan and St. Joe State is the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do all of the bowl games. I will just ask that. So I will do all of the bowl games. Wednesday, December 21st, Western Kentucky versus South Alabama and the RL Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Should be pretty interesting. That game will be a pretty good game. Remember, this game is on the 21st at 6 o'clock p.m. on ESPN. Thursday, we have Baylor versus Air Force in the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Should be interesting. Should be very interesting. I'm going to do my picks later. On Friday, December 23rd, we have Louisiana versus Houston in the Radiance Technology Independence Bowl. That game is out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Louisville and Houston should be something good to watch. Let's keep going, folks. Wake Forest versus Missouri in the Union Home Mortgage Bowl. Remember, these games is December 23rd. We're going on to Saturday, December 24th. MTSU versus San Diego State in the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl. December 26th, you have New Mexico State versus Bowling Green in the Quick Lane Bowl. Tuesday, December 27th, Georgia Southern versus Buffalo in the Camilla Bowl. Memphis versus Utah State in the Silvero First Responders Bowl. We're going to keep on going. These games is Tuesday. Coastal Carolina versus East Carolina in the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl. Interesting game right here. Keep your eyes on this game as well. Wisconsin versus Oklahoma State in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. You know, Wisconsin, they have a new coach, but I don't think he will be coaching that bowl game. Wednesday, December 28th, USC versus Duke in the Military Bowl presented by Persia. That game is Wednesday, December 28th. As well, we have this game. Kansas Jayhawks. They got off to a very good start and they fell south and they couldn't get back up. But they have a bowl game. It's good to see them in a bowl game. It's been a very, very long time. And they're playing Arkansas in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Remember, these games is Wednesday, December 28th. Another interesting game to keep your eyes on. Oregon Ducks versus North Carolina Tar Heels, the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. This should be a good game, folks. Don't think that North Carolina is going to run all over Oregon. I don't think it's going to happen. Texas Tech versus Ole Miss in the Tex at Texas Bowl. Should be a good game for Lane Kiffin. Here we go. Thursday, December 29th, Syracuse versus Minnesota. The Bad Boy Motors Pinstripe Bowl. Monkey calendars for that game, too. Oklahoma versus Florida State. Another good game. This is the Cheez-It Bowl. Here we go. We're going to keep going. Texas versus Washington in the Valero Alamo Bowl. We're going on a quick break. Okay, I'm back, folks. I apologize about that. We're going to keep on going, but we got a lot of bowl games coming up this week. So can't nobody say that they didn't know, because guess what? Big Sean is going to keep you in the know and keep you up. But we will have a few upsets, I do believe, in the college bowl games this season, but it's been a great college football season. It's nothing negative that I could say besides my team not going to the championship. Again, it breaks my heart not seeing Alabama and even Clemson in the championship. But Ohio State's in there, Georgia's in there, so it should be fun. But what if we have another Michigan and Ohio State game? That'll be interesting. So let's keep on going, people. Thursday, December 29th, I'm going to start where I left off. Syracuse, Washington versus Minnesota. Oklahoma versus Florida State. Texas versus Washington. These games will be played on the 29th of December. And the 30th, here we go. We're getting deep into some good games here, people. Maryland Terrapins versus NC State. Should be another good game. UCLA, they're playing Pitt in the Tornado Tiger Sun Bowl. And the Maryland game is the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Notre Dame versus South Carolina, the Texas Gator Bowl, another good game. Ohio versus Wyoming, Barstool Sports, Arizona Bowl. Tennessee, here we go, baby. Tennessee versus Clemson in the Capital One Orange Bowl. This is going to be a good game. And Clemson, they benched their quarterback as Kate. He's their quarterback now. Saturday, December 31st, my Alabama Crimson Tide takes on Kansas State in the All-State Sugar Bowl. Then you have Iowa versus Kentucky in the TransPerfect Music City Bowl. Here we go. TCU versus Michigan, the semifinal bowl. Here we go, baby, the semifinals. That's the Vivo Fiesta Bowl. And then we have the Ohio State versus the Georgia Bulldogs at the Peach Bowl. All these games are on the 31st. Like I said, it's odd not seeing Alabama and Clemson in that spot. Just about every year, you would see Alabama, Clemson. Normally we'll see what? Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and somebody else. But we don't see that now. We don't see that. So let's just keep on going. Monday, January 2nd. Mississippi State versus Illinois in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. This should be pretty good. Tulane versus USC. Then you have LSU versus Purdue. I don't know if I went over this. LSU, Purdue. Then you have Penn State and Utah in the Rose Bowl. And the championship is on Monday, January 9th. Heisman Trophy. I was deadlocked on Caleb Williams, J.H. Rod. That's what I think it's going to probably come down to this year, to those two fantastic players. So let's just keep on going to the NFL games we have today. And I'm going to get you ready for Monday Night Football tomorrow. So let's give you all the scores for today's game, and we're going to get ready to wrap it up because Monday is work day, and I got to be ready to rock and roll. So here we go. We know the Dallas Cowboys won, so it's not new there. Let's go. Pittsburgh, they beat the Atlanta Falcons 19-16. Green Bay, they beat Chicago 28-19. My Detroit Lions, they took care of the Jaguars 40-14. And Minnesota, they got them a playoff berth. They beat the Jets 27-22 in a great game. And the showdown in the NFC East, the Commanders and the Giants, that game went into overtime. Tied, that's the final, 20-20. The Eagles, they took care of the Titans 35-10. And the Ravens beat the Broncos 10-9. Lamar Jackson, he was out with an injury. And Deshaun Watson, he made his return to Houston today. He was rusty. That was expected of him. The Houston Texans fans, they tried to boo, but it wasn't a lot of people in that stadium to even hear a boo. But I'm sure they booed him. But they won 27-14. Again, he was rusty, but the defense stepped up, and Kareem Hunt and Chubb, they had a great game in rushing. So it kind of took the pressure off Deshaun Watson right there. The Seahawks, they beat the Rams 27-23. And the 49ers, they beat the Miami Dolphins 33-17. The Bengals, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs 27-24. The Raiders, they beat the Chargers 27-20. And your Cowboys, They put up numbers 54-19 over the Indianapolis Colts. And, of course, Thursday, the Bills beat the Patriots. Monday, we have a good game coming up for you. But I think it needs to be some changes on both sides of the ball. New Orleans Saints was on them. As you know, I am a Louisiana native. I grew up not too far from the city of New Orleans. So I tell you, I know a lot of New Orleans Saints fans, not fake fans. I know a lot of diehard real Saint fans. I think it needs to be changed out of New Orleans. Maybe coaching wise, maybe player wise as well, or both, not just one. You have to look like this. Okay, who really wants to be there? That's the first question you ask. Who really wants to be there? If these guys don't want to be there, get rid of them. Malcolm Thomas should have been gone a long time ago. You know, if you feel it may seem crazy, but if you feel you need to get rid of Evan Kamara, get rid of him. You have a good wide receiver out of Ohio State right there. I don't think you need Michael Thomas. He's injured. He's not on the field. He can't do you any justice if he's not on the field. The quarterback situation in New Orleans. Andy Dalton is not the answer. Obviously, Jameis Winston isn't the answer. Tyson Hill, obviously, isn't the answer at cornerback. So who's the answer for New Orleans at quarterback? Who's the answer? We don't know. But they need to figure out what they want to do out of New Orleans to get that team better. Can the defense save them? Can the defense save the season? Or save them? Possibly. But we'll know more after Monday. Tampa Bay, same thing. What's going on? It's not looking too good for them neither. Changes need to happen, and it's going to happen. But when? But when that's going to happen? So let's cut that topic out right quick. Let's get to something big, real big. Oh, excuse me, that was good. Now, Deion Sanders, Coach Deion Sanders. I'm going to call him Coach Deion Sanders. Coach Sanders, whatever you want to call it. We know he's going to Colorado. So that's a big coaching move. My question is can he bring the magic back to the Colorado Buffaloes? Can he get big-time recruits on board to come to Colorado? That's going to be the thing. Can he get big-time players to come out to Boulder, Colorado? My answer is absolutely. Absolutely. I know some people, they're trying their hardest to put this as a color thing. I think that's really dumb, and I think it's really stupid. You will have players that will want to come out to Colorado. You're gonna have 5-star, 4-star recruits picking Colorado over Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Florida State, because they want to play for a winner. They want to play for Coach Deion Sanders. That is great. It's nothing wrong with Deion Sanders going out, another opportunity, something maybe a little bit better on some instances. So this will be an opportunity for him to get his foot in that door out in Colorado. It's done. It's sealed. He's their coach. So I'm wondering, I'm hoping what kind of difference and what kind of magic will happen out in Boulder, Colorado next season. So now you can start looking towards that. He said, "Hey, we're coming," and I really do believe it will be some changes in Colorado and the way things is ran there now. And that you have a prominent man, knows football, one of the greatest corners in the NFL. Seemed like a very great man. I never met him before, but seemed like a very great man of his word. And I think he will bring some magic to Boulder. I don't think it's going to be right off the bat in year one, but I think it will be there. And I really do believe that he will have a lot of great players coming out there to Boulder to play with him out there in Colorado. It's going to be big changes, I do believe, and I can't wait to see Coach Sanders in Colorado bringing that magic back to that school. I think they deserve it. He deserves his opportunity in this chance, and you can't be disappointed in that. He did well in Jackson State. He did a wonderful job there. He brought a lot of recruits in. He got the school rocking. He got it on the map. So Colorado, we know Colorado can be on the map. We're going to see what Coach Sanders can do out in Boulder. I'm excited for next season already. We're going to see what can happen as well. LSU, they'll get better throughout the years. Year one in the Coach Kelly deal was pretty damn good. I hate to say that, but pretty damn good from where they started. Nobody expected LSU to even be where they are right now, in a good spot. Same for Alabama and Clemson. After the bowl games, it's time to regroup, reload, get back into the championship picture on both ends of that spectrum. So, but before I close the show, the NBA, I want to talk about, I'm not going to get into the standings or whatever, but I will give you the scores from the games. But I'm going to tell you, Boston Celtics is a very scary team. I'm scared of the Boston Celtics. I know my cousin, he's a Boston Celtics fan, but I never heard him go for Boston a day of my life. But he's a Boston Celtics fan. I'll be right back in 30 seconds. All right, everyone, I am back. Let's get into the NBA right before it's closing time. So, the New Orleans Pelicans, they're winning, and they're just rolling. They beat the Nuggets 121-106. And the Phoenix Suns, they put the Spurs out their misery, 133-95. The Boston Celtics, man, they're good. They beat the Brooklyn Nets 103-92. And Memphis, they beat Detroit 122-112. What's new with that? Cleveland, they lost to the Knicks 92-81. And the LA Lakers, have they woken up? We don't know, but they beat the Wizards 130-119. Anthony Davis, if this man can keep playing like this, watch out. The Lakers are going to be back on top in the West. And the Sacramento Kings, they beat the Bulls 110-101. And the game I just got through watching, the Portland Trail Blazers with Damian Lillard, they won 116-110. You know what? I'm going to give you the standings anyway. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to start in the West. So now the West is starting to crack up. It's starting to shake. So the Phoenix Suns, of course, are number 1. New Orleans is number 2. Denver is number 3. Memphis is number 4. The Kings is number 5. Golden State has creeped up to number 6 at 13-11. Those guys are waking up. I told you this is going to happen. The Clippers, 13-11. Portland, 13-11. The Clippers is number 7. Portland is number 8. Utah is 14-12 at number 9. And Dallas is number 10. Outside, here we go, number 11. Minnesota, they're 11-12. The Lakers, 10-12. Oklahoma, 10-13. Houston and San Antonio, they're below the equator. They're done. They're toast. So let's go to the East. Boston, of course, they're number 1. Milwaukee, they're number 2. Cleveland, they're number 3. Atlanta, they're number 4. Philly's number 5. Number 6 is the Pacers. And number 7 is Toronto. Number 8 is Brooklyn. Number 9 is Miami. Number 10 is Washington. Let's just keep going to the bottom of the barrel. Here we go. Number 10 is New York. Number 11 is Washington. Number 12 is Chicago. Charlotte, Detroit, Orlando, they bottom out. In Chicago, Charlotte, Detroit, and Orlando, they are at the bottom. of the barrel. So I'm getting short on time. Don't forget this here. Jason Tatum. Could he be in the MVP talks? That answer is absolutely. If you don't have him in your MVP vote, I don't know what to tell you. But folks, that's it for me. I know I was short because I got to go to work in the morning. I don't want to be a walking zombie. So I will be back Tuesday. So y'all have a great night. I will see y'all later.